About the most coveted restaurant in the city that you live in. Say you've got like this really big occasion, you've been saving, you're ready to splurge. You go to book a reservation and you cannot. It is booked months and months in advance. Would you pay additional money to secure that reservation? Wasn't possible in the past. It might be possible for you in the present. There's this new platform called Appointment Trader that lets you both buy and sell appointments, restaurant reservations, that sort of thing. And today we're going to talk about how that works. Jonas Frey is the founder of Appointment Trader. We reached him in Miami Beach, Florida. Hello there.
Hey, how are you?
I am well. I love this idea and I hate this idea in equal measure. So I'm so glad you're talking about it. Where did the idea come from in the first place?
I could not get a DMV appointment. I saw a long line in front of the
DMV, so Department of Motor Vehicles. You couldn't get an appointment and you had this light bulb.
Well, yeah, the next day I'm like, what the hell? How is it possible that I can't pay for an appointment in America? And that's where it was born.
Wow. And why would you have that view? Is it that in America, you feel like you should be able to pay to get whatever you want?
Well, I'm German. My wife hates when I say that, but I'm German, and it's like a socialistic economy in Germany, and not everything is for sale there, which sucks in many ways because many things are very complicated to achieve. And I'm an immigrant, and I love America because it's so efficient at almost everything.
Right.
But appointments was really this one big thing that everybody needed, that there was no way to purchase one. And I thought, wow, that's crazy.
So tell us how this works. How does it work?
I'll try to be quick. The principal idea is that you say, okay, you have a place, whether it's a DMV, a restaurant, or a passport agency, whatever it might be, that's oversold, or a doctor. And you're saying someone that has a spot would probably be willing to trade their spot for a premium. All right, just like when in the pandemic, you couldn't buy a PlayStation in the store because there were just not enough PlayStations made, but somebody who had a PlayStation was willing to sell theirs at a premium, like regular market function, right? So the goal was to have availability anytime, anywhere. And it's very simple. You go on Appointment Trader, say, I want to go there, and you can either buy someone's reservation, and then you have it in their name, and you can pay another fee to have it changed to your name, or you can place a reward for someone to get you the reservation. Let's say there is a concierge or someone who works at that restaurant and has an inn. They might be able to do what we call fill a bid for you. So you can place a bid and say, hey, I'm offering 200 Canadian dollars for a table of 6 tonight if there is no listing directly available. So what we do is we include all of the market. You have the restaurateurs, you have the people working at the restaurants, and you have hustlers in the city, you have concierges, and you have actual diners who have a reservation who are willing to give it up. And we're including all these groups to bring them together.
So you mentioned the restaurant example, $200 for a big meal out, for a big party. I can get it. How much does it cost if I want that appointment at the passport office?
We don't. I was actually a bad example. We get that a lot. People would love for us to trade passport reservations, but we don't. Because
okay, DMV. Did you pull it off with the DMV?
Yeah, no, DMV. DMV in Nevada. You want to get an appointment. You select the type of appointment you want, registration, reissue of driver's license, whatever it may be. And then you can buy someone else's listing if they have someone uploaded, or you can offer a money amount for someone to trade their reservation to.
How much are you talking about?
Well, DMV is on average about $25. Restaurant averages about $100 in US. So it's a little more income.
It seems like there's a whole bunch of logistics that would be required, especially for things like the DMV, which are in Canada, we would call it something different, but that are connected to a driver's license. It's not so simple as showing up and saying, hey, my name's Jonas Frey. I'm here for my restaurant reservation.
Well, ironically, actually, most appointments work so the mechanics of the exchange of an appointment is very similar, but every category that we trade works a little bit different. A doctor's appointment works different than a DMV appointment, or a reservation at a restaurant works different than a hotel booking, right? We define per category how the reservation is transferred. Like there's a little mechanism, like once the transfer happens, how that works is different for every category that we trade.
How much money do you make on these? Is it a percentage of the fee that the purchaser pays?
So on non-prepaid reservations, our gross fee is 29.95%. But if you, let's say, I think Alo Toronto, if I'm not wrong, might be prepaid. I'm not 100% sure. But if you, let's say there is a prepaid fee of $100 or something, then we take 20%. So it depends on the category.
Okay. And who is the type of person, if you were to think about the persona, who would use this more than just once for their wedding anniversary? Who's the kind of person that this is a fit for?
So very interestingly, the people who are successful more than twice, actually on average, use us 12 times a year. And what we see is they actually enter Appointment Trader and they don't even look if they can get a reservation somewhere else. They just look at the top list and say, oh, what trades a lot this week? What's like the in spot to go to? Because they're generally oversold. And then they just buy a reservation. So what we found, the biggest cohort of customers that we have is born between 1990 and 2000. And is, I would say, a young professional. So between $70,000 and $100,000 in yearly income.
So I said I like the idea because you can, get an appointment when you otherwise might not have been able to. I don't like the idea because it just sounds like ticket scalping to me. Defend your model, please.
So, scalping is such a funny word for capitalism. So I believe a well-working market is the most efficient thing in the world. If you were in New York before Appointment Trader and you didn't know someone, or you were not a big shot in the city, you were just not going to Carbone, period. That's just what it was, or to Fort Charles Prime Rib, or whatever it may be, right? If you were not part of Wall Street, you were not getting in. That being said, by the way, and this is a secret that they hate being disclosed, Wall Street pays big bucks to Fort Charles Prime Rib to get tables, and that's why they hate us the most. Because you can get one like Wall Street got for $50, right? Now, a common argument is that because of Appointment Trader, you can't get reservations. It's just simply not true. The reason why Appointment Trader ended up working out was because there were no reservations available. That is why people were starting to willing to pay for it. Now that we got more press, yes, we do have our top 10 sellers made like $200,000 in the last 30 days, just 10 people. Of course, that draws a lot of people in, but we limit you. So let's say you upload 5 reservations and you only sell 1. Then your account is restricted and you can't pay out and you can't upload more, because we don't want people just booking reservations with the hopes of selling a couple out of 100, because that just takes availability out of the market, right? Like that's what we don't allow.
So at best, who are the sellers? Are they someone who booked a year in advance that restaurant for their wedding anniversary, and then they got divorced and that's why they want to offload it? Or are they people who are here to make some money?
Well, it's a real marketplace. The really hard spots are the really hard spots where they're just sold out. Those are most of the time actual consumers, because the actual consumer has their reservation, like a polo bar, primetime polo bar, table 4 will give you $500. You'll just get it. So, there is a high incentive to resell your reservation. Now, a common thing that restaurants do is they pretend to be oversold, just close their books so it looks like they're oversold on OpenTable, right? That's what a common thing restaurants do. Now, there are pro sellers that exploit that, and they somehow get to the reservation and list it for sale. But that's really the restaurant pretending to be not available. And you can ask restaurateurs, they'll say, yeah, it's name of the game. You don't want to look like on a Friday you have a table available. And sellers will exploit that. So it's like a whole barrage of people. You have people who build bots, and what the bots do, it's not about listing, because we don't allow them to do that. If you list a lot and you don't sell it, you're off the platform. But if somebody places a bid, says, hey, I'm offering $200 for this table, then you'll have literally hundreds of computers looking around the internet trying to get that table for you.
The area where consumers are probably most engaged in this question about the middle person is concerts. And particularly, let's reference the Taylor Swift tour, which in Canada has been an enormous story because of the ridiculous reseller prices happening here. What have you learned from where this has gone wrong, where there's this middle person that's making buckets of money and average people can't get like a basic seat to a concert? What can
So
you do to ensure that this isn't you in 2 years or 5 years?
well, we did have that problem. And then we regulated it. I always compare a marketplace is often a little bit like a little government because we are not selling anything. It's the seller selling something, right? And then you set the rules and allow how are people allowed to trade. For us, it's all about volume, right? With our average transaction is $100, so we need to do tens of thousands of transactions to be a relevant business. If your price is too high, your transaction volume goes down. And that doesn't hurt the individual seller, but us. If a seller is, oh man, I can sell this one reservation for $1,000, I would much rather sell 200 reservations for 25, right? As a platform.
I can understand more readily the restaurant category or even the concert category where it is a public service like the Department of Motor Vehicles or a physician or something like that. I think there are some ethical questions about that because it just underscores the privilege that wealthier people have in both Canada and the US. You answer that question.
Yeah, thank you for asking that because we do get that a lot. We cater to regular working class people. Our average ticket is $100. Our average ticket is not $10,000. If you are sick and the doctor tells you, listen, I can see you in 4 months. It's free, but I can see you in 4 months. Now, is it better if you can say, well, I'm going to rack up $50 and the guy can see me tomorrow? Which just does not, you cannot do that today. There is no way of doing it. You're just going to have to wait. Now, what's better? Is it better to be able to pay $50 and get that service then? Or is it better to wait for 4 months and then maybe have a real problem? It's not available.
Yeah, I think there's a big cultural difference. I've lived in the US. There's a big cultural difference in healthcare between Canada and the US because we are a national system or a provincial system in which private medicine, it's not that it doesn't exist, but it's quite limited. And there is a deep aversion to it for exactly the reason you've outlined. You've got two individuals, both have excruciating back pain. One person's paying up to get the appointment tomorrow because they can. The other person can't. So they somehow have to wait longer because someone jumped the line.
Well, I agree, but so I'm German, right? And in Germany, we have a very similar system to you guys. And the problem is, in the US, you can get doctor's appointments all the time. There's no problem at all. You go to a doctor and you pay the money and you get an appointment. We're actually not launching this here because there's probably not going to be a lot of demand for it. In Germany or Europe in general, it's a big problem. Because because appointments are free, what happens is people make 5 for a year just to have them because they're free. They'll make 5 reservations literally on just to have them in their pocket, similar to restaurant reservations when they were free. People would just make 5 and go to 1. That's why no fees were implemented. This is what happens. Something that's in demand is free for people. People will hoard it because it doesn't cost anything. So my argument is the reason that no one can go tomorrow is because it's free.
Yeah, that would hold true if the doctor was twiddling their thumbs because no one was showing up. In our context, those doctors are busy every single minute of every single day. But point made, there are different contexts. I appreciate you joining us today. I think it's an interesting model. I can see the application in certain areas and am repelled by the application in others. But I love your passion for capitalism. Thank you for joining us, Jonas.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the afternoon.
Jonas Frey, founder of a platform called Appointment Trader. It is a way for you to kind of buy and sell the privilege of the restaurant or the doctor's appointment. Some pros and cons.